Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode with Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Sattology means science of truth or study of truth, and opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fake lie or imagination. So it's going to be a very informal session also today because I didn't prepare anything. So let us welcome Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Welcome, Abhijit.
Hello.
Abhijit, if I ask you, are you using a teleprompter today? Can you read for what you are supposed to say?
Yes, Hinduism is the path of the devil. Please embrace our Lord in Christ and give up your evil heathen ways. Jesus saves. Jesus is the only path to salvation. Nulla salis extra ecclesiam, as the doctrine goes. That's what the teleprompter. Thank you for these lines, Aditya. I'm so glad you provided me with all these lines on the teleprompter.
You should also read the end of the quote also. You forgot to read the end of the quote.
No, the end of the quote only I read just now. Nulla salis extra ecclesiam. There is no salvation outside the Holy Mother Catholic Church. Yes.
So do you think the Prime Minister Modi also uses teleprompter?
Yeah. So what? Okay, tell me something. What's wrong with using a teleprompter? Right. I mean, if you are making speeches every day, 5-6 speeches a day, boss, it's humanly. Is he going to write his own speeches or is he going to run the bloody country?
Right.
So obviously you have speech writers and you read out the speech. What's the big deal about it? See, this is why Modi doesn't make gaffes like Rahul Gandhi. No. Rahul Gandhi, Alu, Sona. Alu, Sona. When you don't have your speeches written, you end up with crap like this.
See, whatever we spoke about Ukraine war, and most of the students are really focused on the Ukraine war. Many things have turned out to be exactly opposite of American media. And American media is lost in abortion rights, and also it's lost in immigration right now, where they are stuck with that. So what do you tell Americans? How do they see the news as? Like, how do they read the news and where they get the information from now?
Sorry, repeat the question. Where did they get
information from? Where do they...
Okay, look, I see, here's the thing. Very often when you're spoiled for choice, news isn't about getting news. News is about self-validation. You only want to hear the things that validate what you believe. So, it's the question is, how open are you to listening to another point of view? And sadly, I find there is no other point of view that most people are willing to listen to. There's too hard baked into their own beliefs. Okay, which I find very problematic. But then in the open, I don't find any news outlet, single source news outlet or channel that is willing to do balance. So what I recommend to everybody is, I mean, if you want two completely opposite points of view, watch Fox and MSNBC. One for one point of view and one for another point of view, and you draw your own conclusions in between. See, this is why the lotus is sacred to us. No, why? Because the truth emerges out of contradiction. Absolutely. The word for lotus is pankaja. Pank means dirt. Aja is that which is born of dirt. So, lotuses are only born in the filthiest of waters. Unless there's a lot of manure and fecal matter in the water, it's impossible to get lotuses to grow properly. And that is when the lotus grows, and it is totally without blemish. It is pure. It is the symbol of purity. Right? So it's just one of those things where learn to accept and listen to contradiction and draw your own conclusions. Why do you want somebody else to draw conclusions for you?
The good point, very good point, because in today's world, you need to read multiple sources and come up to your own conclusion. And also the best way, the question that was asked to me is follow people whom you like on Twitter and social media and see what they are saying. And their analysis can help you make your own opinion, also informed opinion, I would say. One of the things like yesterday's RBI policy change in India did not make news in the US. And like and rupee based denominated trade of India. Do you think, I know you avoid economic questions, but from the strategic...
I don't avoid economics. I avoid finance.
So Do you think on the strategic side that will it impact Indo-US trade or the dollar denominated trade of India?
No, but I think everybody, after what was done to Russia, I think there is very serious thought everywhere in the world to de-dollarize. See, the dollar worked as long as it wasn't used in an arbitrary manner to satisfy some interests. However, if you look at what Africa, South America, Asia are thinking at the moment, it turns out that, they've gotten into this thing where American financial policy has fallen into the same trap as Western media, where Western media thinks it is the world media. They'll constantly pass off their editorial opinion as this is what the world believes. This is what the international community believes. Okay, it does not. So even if you look at the UN General Assembly vote, fine, it may have just been 20 countries that opposed Russia, but those 20 countries account for 56% of the world's population.
Yeah.
Right? So the majority of the world's population is either supporting Russia or is indifferent to Russia. You look at Africa, when Zelensky came to address the African Union meeting, 50 heads of state refused to attend. Only 4 had to be persuaded to attend. So basically, Africa doesn't give a shit about Ukraine. India doesn't give a shit about Ukraine. Most of Asia doesn't give a shit about Ukraine. South America doesn't give a shit about Ukraine. Right? NATO and Western Europe give a shit about Ukraine. And we are all meant to pick up the burden of your economic sanctions against Russia. You can't run an international financial instrument like that. So America has, why do we call other currencies monkey currencies? Because they were all subject to monkey manipulation by their local governments. They were all subject to monkey manipulation by local politics. And here what we've seen is that reserves, financial institutions, and the dollar have been subjected to monkey manipulation for the financial goals of one set. That is the beginning of the end of any currency.
Behind every such khurafat is an Indian brain. And there's an Indian brain running the American foreign policy and American monetary policy also.
He quit. He quit for quote unquote personal reasons. Good riddance to bad rubbish anyway.
I think now there must be getting some sense. Real economics from American economists might be getting involved. I don't know. Is a good option.
No, they're not. They're not, because no economist is willing to bell the cat.
Did you know for last 1 year, India has no US ambassador? 1 year.
Yeah.
Does this show, you only said, I think in my last show, does it show, and I may have forgotten to ask this question, does it show that the US is not giving importance to relations with one of the largest economies of the world or the biggest democracy of the world?
Well, it shows you a lot of things, that India is not high up enough on the priority list, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly fine, because I keep saying this, that India is not half as important as it thinks it is.
That's right.
Right. It's like the first time special invitee to the Oscar who thinks that they're the center of attention at the Oscar just because they're on the red carpet, and they're actually not. Nobody gives a shit. So India is a bit like that. But what's more worrying is it shows how completely dysfunctional this government is. That they're not able to get their act together. They're not able to find people to fill positions. And they're definitely not able to, in spite of having a majority in Congress, they're not able to get people through. What does that tell you? I mean, Eric Garcetti, the whole problem with him became what? Sexual harassment or something. No?
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you remember that line from, you remember there was that serial called Dharma and Greg? Yeah. And there was a very funny line in it, which was like, somebody gets caught having sex with Greg gets caught having sex with his wife by a newspaper. And the newspaper runs the line that, because he's going to run for office or something like that. So it runs the line saying, is he a Democrat because well, he's definitely a Democrat because he got caught having sex in public. But then he's almost certainly a Republican because he got caught having sex with his own wife. So, it's a bit like that. Like, this is a Republican stereotype and this is the Democrat stereotype. And the Democrats basically can't keep it in their pants.
See, one of the things, the funniest thing which I heard yesterday, and this is not from a news source, this is a local politician talking to me here. And he said, we are the cruelest people with the most benign outlook. Is a Democrat politician. And if he's watching, he's a good friend of mine. He'll tell me. Uh, we are the cruelest people with the most benign attitude, and Republicans are the most foolish people with the most cruel external view. What do you say on that? I think you're hung. Abhijit, you're there?
No, not hungry.
Okay. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
See, I would say it very differently. The Republicans are grounded in reality and they have the most practical view. Democrats are grounded in this very dangerous delusional greatness, and their intent may be benign, but the net effects of their grand delusions are that it ends up being a lot more cruel than the Republicans' realistic view.
Sometimes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes it usually happens. See, one of the things which really struck me in last few days is that the American policy makers have no clue. Like for example, they initially blamed Russia for inflation. Then now they are blaming the American Republicans for the inflation now. So, and which is very surprising. And I hate to be on this show, especially, I hate to be sound political because we are in the academic world right now. But it does affect the normal life of Americans, does affect. Like the gas is inching towards $10 a gallon. How will a student drive his car? Almost like $7-8 in New Jersey right now.
See, this is what I don't get. For all the Democrats talking about sustainability, the very first step in sustainability is moving away from a car-based economy and going in for public transport. Okay. California, of all places, still doesn't have a bloody train connection from Los Angeles to San Francisco. That project has been going on for God knows how many donkey years. And it's now so expensive, I wonder if it'll ever be able to recoup the costs. It will ultimately, I guess, but how ultimately? See, that's the argument that the Chinese made when they went on investing in high-speed rail. And now it comes to a point where you simply can't recoup your investment.
They should.
I mean, this. The sustainability isn't a silo. Sustainability affects your entire lifestyle. They don't want to give up their lifestyle, but they want sustainability. Why doesn't California lead the path through public transport? Why is it still a car-based economy and a car-based economic system? Right. This is why it just sounds so damn ridiculous.
I live in a horse county, and there, if you talk about trains, it's beneath your dignity. It's not the American way of life. American way of life has to be a car or a truck, large truck and large car, and batteries.
You know the old theorem, right? The size of your car is inversely proportional to your penis.
I need to tell it to them.
So remember, the next person you see driving a limo or a pickup truck, yeah.
Good luck sharing that, and I'll have to share something with you after the session.
Yeah.
So one of the things which really struck me here yesterday, the report came out that the EV cars are gone mainstream now, have crossed a critical mass in the US. It's totally fraudulent report, according to me, because the production of the gas-based cars has not reduced. In fact, it's picked up. during the COVID period, and more
Mhm.
cars are being sold over there. So, do you think it's another propaganda going on so that people start switching back to?
I don't know what the report is, so I'm going to refrain from commenting on it. But I do think the acceptance of electric cars has definitely crossed several mental thresholds. I think people are a lot more open to it. What's surprising for me is in India, people are open to it, which is very unusual. Because in India, everything is about resale value. And electric cars do not have resale value because the battery will be eroded. But that's what, these guys came up with a very good plan. Hyundai, because they've been selling the Kona in India, they came up with a very good plan that after 8 years, we're willing to replace your battery pack completely.
Free of charge?
Minimal charge.
In US, it costs you $20,000 to replace the batteries for Tesla. So I think it will be a problem for many of the students also, and anyone to replace the batteries. But anyway, I don't know. So the next question, which is comes from the audience right now, is that what do you think? And this is a political science person is asking. What do you think is the new Parliament of India represent for India? Because India is building a huge parliament with a largely Hindu symbols. That's the comment is. So why does the Hindu symbols are being used in a secular India? That's a question.
What Hindu symbols exactly are being used
In
in?
the emblem, the Ashoka symbol. That's what I think. That's what you're
Yeah,
referring to. Yeah,
yeah, but that's a Buddhist symbol.
Buddhist symbol. There you get the
Yeah.
answer. It's not a Hindu in
Well,
any.
Ashoka was a Buddhist, so it's more a historical imperial Buddhist symbol than it is a Hindu symbol at all.
Very good.
So, and remember, in India, secularism has a certain connotation. Not all secularisms are the same. There is American secularism, there is French secularism, there is Indian secularism. French secularism, laïcité, is a anti-clerical culture where all signs of religion are actively removed from public life. In America, it's more a case of no favoritism. In India, you're not allowed to exclude anyone. Everybody, you can display your religiosity, and everybody gets to. You don't have to display everybody's religiosity, but everybody gets to display their religiosity.
So do you think that in India, the reports which are coming that the Muslims are killing Hindus by taking out the what you call fatwa or publicly or individual targeting is happening? So does it create a problem of internal security for India in a big way? And how does it affect its relations with other countries who are Islamic?
Look, it doesn't affect relations at all because none of the Muslim countries want to raise it. They'd much rather not talk about this unless they're forced to talk about it and it becomes an issue on their streets. Number one. Number two, India has always had this problem. It's not a new problem. Because India, the police do not have a monopoly on violence. We don't even have a police. We've got the lowest police to a citizen ratio anywhere in the world. Well, one of the lowest. So, it's not a new problem. It's just like every other criminal problem going around. The problem is, unlike the French state, where French politicians are very clear on what the state means and what French secularism means, which is why you will see that even the ultra left in France, their view on the exclusion of religion from state would be classified as ultra right in America. You look at the presidential candidates, Mélenchon from the Communist Party, Macron centrist, and Marine Le Pen from the right, or even Zemmour from the right. Their view on French secularism was all the same. None of them disputed. Their view on freedom of speech is the absolute same. They do not believe in hate speech and crap like that. They're like, speech is speech, incitement is incitement. That is the only difference in speech that we have. We don't accept any other categories. In America, there is no such consensus because the foundational basis of the state isn't clear, or the educational system is not clear enough to drill it into people. In France, people take their social studies classes very, very seriously because citizenship is something they take very seriously. Citizenship is a privilege, right? So there's lots of things like this that happen.
So one of the things which comes now in the China, the recently video surfaced, I think today by AFP, where the people are writing at the banks and they cannot withdraw money from the cash. Is it temporary issue, or is it like a one city issue, or it is nationally across China right now?
Well, it's it's just in one area where apparently 4 banks have failed. And the problem is they never told them that they were failing. They said we're shutting down for maintenance, and then they never reopened. But this is going to look, it's the beginning. You saw how Evergreen or Evergrande, I forget what that company was, collapsed.
Evergreen, yeah.
Yeah. The train system we know is beyond collapse. They've spent close to $1 trillion on it, and it is never going to recoup that money. It is gone case. So the train system is collapsed. All those shiny high-speed rails have all collapsed. They're just being sustained by throwing even more money at them. So it's throwing good money after bad. The financial system was bound to collapse. Everybody knew this. This is one contained collapse. The point is, at what point does it reach where the total amount of money that has been wasted is more than China's reserves that they can't throw it in?
No, how will Hunter Biden survive? We don't know that, because he's going to stop his money.
The surprising thing is, none of the liberal media outlets are even carrying what Hunter Biden did, are they?
Exactly. 1 million barrels.
Yeah. I mean, imagine sending pictures of you fucking to your parents. And imagine saving your father as Peter Pedo. What the hell, man? I know, look, all families have their problems. Okay? There's no such thing as a perfect family. Every family has dark secrets. Every family has tension, and, there's somebody in the family you don't hate, or you hate, or you can't forgive, for whatever. I mean, to be a family is to have wounds and have baggage and still get along in spite of it. But honestly, saving your father as a pedophile, like, really? That's next level. I mean, who sends their parents pictures of them doing it? That's just so sick.
That's a progressive family. You say progressives.
Yeah, see, this is where, for me, progressive is increasingly becoming interchangeable with child molester.
Under the garb of progressivism, everything is being shoved into it right now. In the campuses also, everything else is going. One question we have: why the word progressive for something like this? Like, why now we have suddenly progressive has become the buzzword now? Why the word progressive?
Well, the thing is that this is what is deemed as progress, right? So even this is progress for the sake of progress, that we've reached a state of gender equality. We've reached a state of free speech. So where does society go from here? So you have to push it even more. Otherwise, you can't progress. And in the process, you start advocating for all kinds of bullshit. So, this is like looking for problems where none exist, or problematizing things that are not problematic.
True. I mean, that's what it is right now.
Look, it's an industry, right? People have to earn. Like, honestly, Aditya, you tell me, in a pre-industrial society, would you or I have a job?
I don't think so. I will have
a job. Who has? Have you ever heard of a pre-1700s software programmer? No. You would have been jobless out on the street.
I'm jobless since 2007.
But pre-1700s, did you know of a strategic analyst or a policy expert? No. I would have been out on the streets begging for my food. Now, all of us have jobs because of this. Now, remember, this is the next stage of evolution, where these people also want jobs by being assholes, because being an asshole is also a job market.
No, I think the new ones, the biggest money earner today is a dog walker. Dog walker makes $9,000 to $15,000 a month. You know,
Really?
really. In You
Wow.
should come where I live, and you just get 9, 10,000, 12,000 a month. And there's so many dog walkers. Everybody is making money.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, the plumbers and the dog walkers make more money than the software engineers and the doctors today.
But look, it's supply and demand. This is how a market is meant to work.
That's right.
And dog walking is a skill. Plumbing is a skill. For you to manage dogs, for you to give them that exercise that they require is a very valuable skill set. And you're providing that so that the dog parent can go do something else. I do not begrudge that. It's an honest day's work. It's much more honest than being a BLM activist or, woke.
Even that was a very profitable job, by the way. For some
BLM, no?
people. Yeah, some
I
people.
know. I mean, she bought what? She bought a villa in the Bahamas or the Caribbean or something like that.
Malibu too.
And Malibu. So there's one in the Caribbean, one or two in California.
Yeah, it is. I mean, progressivism is opening up new opportunities for jobs and careers. By the way, don't get inspired by this show. Okay, so we are just talking lightly. And
No, get inspired by it and start up your own bullshit company. Okay, start up things like beards matter. Why bearded people are being discriminated against. The point is, do whatever you do. Doesn't matter if it's bullshit or real. Just ensure you make a lot of money. The dharma of a business is to make money.
True.
The dharma of a charity is to do good. If you're starting up a business, even if it's a bullshit business, ensure you make money. That is the main thing. See, this is why tigers and lions and carnivores do not go to hell.
Right.
Have you ever seen a tiger kill its prey and then cry, oh, I killed a poor innocent baby deer? No. So, if you get into business, you must make money. If you do not make money, that is when you will go to hell.
Abhijit, progressivism has entered the yoga industry also. There is the most famous yoga today is the goat yoga. You know the goat yoga? Watch some videos on YouTube. I'm going to send you. So when you're doing
hump
yoga,
goats.
Yeah, the goats climb on your backs, and while you're doing yoga exercises, check out. I'll send you the YouTube videos on that. True. Yes.
No, thank you. Not interested. This is like one step away from bestiality. No, thank you.
No, but it's a very serious therapy today.
Yeah, no, thanks. Not interested.
It's just like hugging a cow, but same thing.
No.
Okay.
Cows are dirty creatures. I never hugged them.
Cow hugging is a big business. It's like $75 for 15
thank you.
minutes.
Not interested. Cows can't control their sphincter, right? They shit all over the place.
Yeah, but that's very.
Yeah,
you're a Hindu. You're a Hindu.
I'm an atheist. So I'm an Nastic. So I don't identify the Western atheist tradition. I identify in the Hindu atheist tradition. So I'm sorry, I have no great attachment to cows. But anything that does not have a control over its own sphincter is not entering my house. This I'm very clear about. And if you do not have control over your sphincter, I am not touching you. Thank you very much.
Let me just tell you about the new Christian nudist society, a Christian nudist society in Texas.
Oh, yeah, I approve of Christian nudism. It's very healthy.
But the point is not that. Point is, it's a Christian nudist.
Yes.
It's like
So I support this. They attempt to live as Adam and Eve did before temptation came about. And you see, the point of nudism is you deny the existence of the sexualization of this thing. So I support it 100%. So they're returning to the old roots.
You didn't hear the reality. You didn't see in Texas.
Yes.
Okay, it's a reddest state of the country.
Yes. So it's very obvious that they would be the first to go back to the fundamentals. Hopefully. Yes, I support this 100%.
Okay, coming back to normal conversation now. So last question. So they talk about the Chinese banking collapse and American banking collapse. Now, which banking is going to survive? That's a question. Last question. Which banking is going to survive? Because the Chinese are also collapsing, Americans are also collapsing. And the inflation is supposed to rise by 5 basis points by the end of 2022.
See, everybody is going down. We don't know what the new world order is going to look like. So Putin gave an important speech either yesterday or today, where he says the collapse is a good thing. It's a collapse of the liberal world order of which China was also a part, the globalist order. And you're returning to true multipolarity, which I agree. It's going to be a much more violent world, but it's also going to be a world where the middle countries have a lot more opportunities to shape the course of things. It also needs a lot more business for me. So I personally support it 100%. Like I said, one should not be in business unless one makes a profit. There is no greater hell than the hell a bad businessman goes to. So yes, remember that. Just like a bad tiger starves and dies. A good tiger kills a lot. This is a good thing for me. I support it 100%. I support the decline of America and I support the decline of China. My thing is that they should decline at the same rate because America acts as a hedge for us against China. So they should not decline at a rate where China feels emboldened to take us on.
That's very just expectation, because then everyone thing is in balance. Thank you, Abhijit, and thank
But
you all the viewers.
I mean, I was being facetious, partially. Seriously, I wonder what happened to America. America, when it followed a wrong course, always demonstrated an ability to course correct. That was the true greatness of America. I'm not seeing that anymore. It's forget course correction. Even the talk of course correction is now deemed treason.
On any
And that
side.
is what really scares me. This is why free speech was so important in protecting society. And it is exactly this clamp down on free speech, calling people Russian agents, this, that, fascist, racist, this, that has destroyed all of that. Best of luck. This is what happens.
And the social media has also hastened the process, actually, because social media, the free speech banning and everything has really worsened it. The Facebook has become the new jail nowadays, public jail. So thank you, Abhijit, and thank you for all the viewers and students for asking good questions. Do watch it on YouTube and let me know your feedback. Comment a lot, and I would start reading funny comments for Abhijit from last shows onwards, so that we can all laugh at it.
Thank you for all our viewers, and may our Lord in Christ bless you. Please do not be tempted by the devil, and embrace our Lord in Christ as your one true Savior. Thank you.
Thank you.